what's up, and welcome to another week of Pinups, Cool Cats, and Comics. I am Dennis. This obviously is not Teresa. We have V filling in this week.
Hi, everyone.
Unfortunately, Teresa's tied up again this week. She's been working hard, being a mom, bartending, going to school, so she will be back next week, and then we'll see from there. But, eventually at some point she's going to be back full force again.
Yes.
So, in the meantime, we decided to have V come back and work as a co-host because we just went to Salem.
Yes, we
And we're going
did.
to cover that at some point tonight. So, and next to me is Jeff Livingston. He is an actor in Haunted House, among other things.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to be getting back into that in a little bit. But the show right before us, I just wanted to give them a shout out. It's called In the Cage with Cyclone. And I specifically want to bring it up this week because one of my favorite fighters of all time fought this weekend, Fedor Emelianenko. That guy had a phenomenal career in Pride.
Yep.
Unfortunately, with the UFC and the way it works and contracts and this, that, and the other thing, never really got to see him fight the upper echelon of the UFC guys until after the fact when they were on the whatever the Showtime Fed was, or when they were in different federations other than the UFC. But he did fight Chael Sonnen this weekend, and he knocked him out in the first round, so I'm very happy about that. But check out In the Cage with Cyclone. They're the show right before ours. If you go to the Strong Island page, you'll see their show, and plus we're going to share it later, so you'll see it on
Yes, we
ours. And speaking of sharing, share our show.
Please,
You
share
know,
it.
share our page.
Share the heck out of it.
We have a YouTube page now.
Yes, we do. So we're on.
I think it's just, if you look at Pinups, Cool Cats, and Comics
Should come right up in YouTube.
Radio or something like that, but you'll find it on, and we're uploading our shows on there. So before we get into everything, I guess we will recap last week.
Yes.
Guru Poo Poo.
Guru Poo Poo,
As our
yes.
guest host was a lot of fun.
Very interesting person.
And we had Sarah on, Sarah
Yes.
Frucoli, who I don't know what your beliefs are or what you're into, but if you're into channeling or you believe in it at all, check her out, because I did go. I went Sunday, and it was a lot of fun. It was very interesting, and I did get the message I needed.
Okay.
So again, your beliefs are your beliefs. If you're not into it, don't go. But if you are into it, she's definitely someone you want to check out.
I'll have to try it out too.
Yeah. So let's get into our sponsor, then we'll get into our show. So you want to go to Kayla Logistics, and specifically you want to talk to Frank Zambuto. Kayla Logistics, where your business is our priority, moving products you use every day across the country and around the world. Contact Frank Zambuto for all of your domestic and international logistic projects. Frank has over 20 years' experience working with many name brand companies in the apparel, cosmetic, as seen on TV, and electronics industries. For trucking, air, and ocean cargo on all 7 continents, all you need is one solution. And to all the Cool Cat listeners, just mention our show, and Frank will offer a free cost and transit time analysis for all your cargo. Frank Zambuto and Kayla Logistics, where your business is our priority. And Frank's number to call him direct is 347-536-3933. He can answer all the questions you have. Are tariffs good? Are they bad? I don't know, but he does.
He does.
So you want to check that out, and definitely call him, use his company. He's the best out there.
Yeah,
I don't say that about everybody, but I will definitely say that about him.
He knows his stuff. That's for sure.
He knows a lot of things about a lot of things, and especially his business.
Yes.
So we went to Salem,
Yes, we did.
and we had a great time there. I've been there before. You went before, but it wasn't in October.
It
You went
was
in
just
November, so it
after
was a
the
little
Halloween
different.
season, so it was, I don't want to say it was dead, but a lot of stuff was closed. A lot of the attractions and museums and some stuff closed very early. But we still had a lovely time last time.
Have you ever been to Salem?
I haven't actually.
Alright.
But I've been working in a haunt for the past 8 years, so like, I don't ever have time in October to do anything.
Okay.
I don't
See,
even,
well, the
you
cool
know.
thing about that town is they had I think it was about 9 months of the witch hysteria there.
Yes.
Oh.
All the rest of the history is basically pirate history, but nobody really, when you go there, it's all about the witches.
Oh, that's awesome.
People think Salem, they think witches.
And when you
Right.
walk through
So
the main
much
town of
more.
Salem, most of it is witch-oriented or haunt-oriented. They get a bunch of haunted houses and stuff there as well. But it's funny because you think it was such a big thing. Only 19 witches were hanged there.
19 accused witches.
Well,
Right,
anyone
yeah.
that was accused
Yeah.
was convicted back
Yes.
then.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because the way it worked was, it all started from a slave woman called Tituba.
Yes.
Did I say that right?
Tituba from Barbados.
And she used to babysit these children, and kids get bored, so she would come up with different things for them to do. And she liked to do magic tricks for them. She liked to do a little voodoo, a little of this, a little of that. And then, of course, kids tell stories, and they tell stories, two tell stories, and this and the other thing. Next thing you know, Tituba is a witch. So it's kind of started the witch hysteria. And I'm not getting this all factually or going through every detail because I don't want to bore you with the entire thing. Obviously, it spread around, and these girls were hanging out in the woods, and they were supposed to be hanging out with this guy that was the devil, and they were witches. And it got down to the point where if you got accused of being a witch, you had to enter a plea. When you entered that plea, no matter what, you were convicted.
Well, yeah.
And then you were in jail, and eventually the whole point was they were going to hang you.
Right.
Tituba was interesting because she was the first one put into jail for it, and she actually survived the witch hysteria and actually got out of jail.
She was free.
Oh.
She was freed, which was interesting. Now, another thing that when you take the tours, you learn different things each time. If you were put in jail, even if you were proven innocent, you had to pay for your stay. So if you were poor, guess what? You had to stay in
go back
jail
in.
until you could pay.
God,
Now, if you have no
crazy.
money to get out, so you can't get out, now you can't work, how are you going to pay?
Right.
Just keep
So
adding
it
up
was a
and
big
adding
thing
up
there.
every day.
And also with the witches, it got to the point where, like, if I accused you of being a witch, I would get half your stuff, the government would get the other half. So guess who started getting accused of being a witch? First, it was single women that were, I forget how they used the term, they weren't living the proper lifestyle, they were whatever.
Right, because they were
Right.
single and they had property.
Yeah, because it was single
She
women that
must be
had
a witch.
something, so she's a
Right.
witch. And then what would happen is, like, the help started accusing the owners, she's a witch.
You know what? I
Me?
think I saw something about. It was like people who were like they made a career out of witch hunting because they would get the bounty or whatever.
Yeah, which was,
And the government wasn't going to say no because they were getting it.
Yeah, they were getting their money too. So.
But eventually, the governor's wife got accused of being a witch, and it was like, whoa, hold
Oh,
on,
right,
I
yeah.
don't think this is really.
This isn't a good idea
Right.
anymore.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
So he put his foot down,
He
and,
put his foot down, pardoned everybody.
including Tituba.
Yes, so everybody that was in jail at that time got released, no strings attached, because otherwise Tituba and people like that would have been in there.
Right.
But it was funny because, like I said, if you take different tours, like I wish Aspen was still there. We
Yes.
had a tour guide when I went with Teresa and some other people. Her name was Aspen. She was a legit ghost hunter.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and she was a local, so she knew everything there.
Right. Right.
And what was great is she would walk past, like, a lot of people say this house is haunted. It's not. But over here, and she was giving you the real, it wasn't all
Right.
flash, fake stuff. She was giving you the real deal. This is where this happened. Now it's a parking lot. This is where this happened. Now it's a Walgreens. This is where this happened.
Right.
Now it's a, a hotel or whatever. And you found out because a lot of people, like with the poltergeist thing, they think, the mean old white men just took everybody's, the Indians or the slaves and built on their graves.
Right.
They didn't. They built on everybody's grave. Nobody cared. It was just,
Right.
churches were built over graves and they just kind of moved
They
the
moved
headstones.
headstones left and right.
When we went to New Orleans, we found out a lot of that
Yes,
too.
we did.
Because there was a gas station where a graveyard used to be.
Holy crap.
But they had some interesting stories there too because when they would get the floods,
Yes.
the bodies would come up out of the ground because by then the coffins were all deteriorated, so they would just kind of float down the
Yeah,
street.
bodies
That's
floating down the
terrifying.
street.
So,
I think to
yeah.
this day it happens in New Orleans. There's still
Yeah, well, that's why they started putting stones on top, or
Yeah.
doing different things, or
Imagine walking
The
down
last
the
bit-
street
the
and
last
just
bit,
seeing
see
a bunch
um,
of bodies
floating.
floating. Yeah,
I think even after was it Irma, which was the big hurricane that affected New Orleans.
Not Katrina. right?
Katrina.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
So even after
Yeah,
Katrina,
Katrina, there
they had a
was-
couple of other storms where they had coffins float up and
yeah.
stuff floating down the street.
I'm sure Katrina digged up a bunch of shit. That was
Oh,
probably.
that's for sure.
I
Yeah.
forget, was it Salem or was it New Orleans? The bar, I guess a graveyard was next to it, but the wall kind of broke and bodies just came flying through.
Yes, I
God,
think
that
it
was-
was Salem.
That was Salem,
I
all
think it
right.
was
Yeah, it
Salem,
was that
yes.
one bar in Salem. But that's
That's
pretty wild. Can you
terrifying.
imagine hanging out in
And
the bar
you're
and a bunch
drunk
of
and all of
bodies
a
come out?
sudden. Oh my God.
I was like, oh my God, am I dead
And,
drunk?
and we did learn how a lot of the witch stereotypes, I guess, came into
Stereotypes
play,
and
like the
myths.
green skin and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah?
Flying on the broom and
Basically, a lot of stuff that time was done by class. So the rich people lived in the city. They had the doctors. Only men could be
Right.
doctors at that time.
Right,
Right,
they had the
yeah.
doctors and the churches. And
But regardless, if you lived in the country, you were so far away from like
Everything.
civilization.
Right.
You had to kind of make do with what you had.
Right.
So it was a lot of women that lived out there, and they would do the gardening, and they would make the herbs and
they
stuff.
learned about herbs
And-
and the different medicinal purposes of each
Right.
plant and herbs, and they
Right.
used it to help people.
Right.
Right.
They became doctors in the sense, but they couldn't be a doctor officially
Because they were women.
because
So that's
plus
where,
they
like-
didn't live in the city, and they
Right.
they wouldn't want the
So they'd be
competition.
mixing up their own potions.
Yeah, they'd be making natural cures to stuff, but from handling all the plants and stuff, their hands would turn green. So they'd wipe
you
themselves
screw your
off and
face.
stuff like that.
Ah.
And back then, you were lucky if you got to bathe once or twice a year.
Right.
So if you did see somebody that gardened a lot, they did have like a green hue to their skin.
Oh.
Yep.
Now,
Huh.
well, you're wrong. Because a warlock, witch is a genderless term. It can be a male or female. It doesn't matter. A
Right.
warlock is someone who's excommunicated
By the witch community.
by the witch community. So a warlock is not necessarily a guy. It's just someone who wasn't good enough to be a witch. So
Using powers for evil, for true evil.
that was
I never knew that one.
That was one of the religions too. That on the hierarchy of thing, men and women are equal.
Okay.
So, and it was just it's a lot of it was pagan based. So it's based off nature.
Right.
What you give into nature is what you get back. What you
Yeah.
put out there comes back three times
Yeah,
times three.
most like pagan ceremonies are based around like nature things
Right.
or
Yes.
celebrating nature, like the Christmas tree and all
Christmas tree, Halloween.
So-
there's
Easter with the eggs.
Easter,
and-
yep.
Like every religion or belief or whatever has their own things, like making the sign of the cross or doing whatever. The witches,
Knocking on wood.
well,
or
when they planted the seeds, they didn't want to blow it away, so they would use the brooms to put the dirt on top of
sweep
it.
Dirt over to the seeds.
And their little
Ah.
thing that they had was the higher you jumped,
Put
the
the
higher
broom
the
between
crop
their
would
legs, and they would jump
come.
up. So however
would-
high they jumped up is how high the crops would grow.
So imagine you're walking home from the local tavern or whatever, and you see a bunch of women jumping up on these
Broomsticks. Yeah.
broomsticks, and you're just like,
Broomsticks.
all right, I guess they're flying or trying to fly or
Yeah.
whatever, so they guess the witches flying on broomsticks. So we
Oh,
learned a lot
that's
about this
crazy.
while we
They
were
did,
there.
yes. That was
That
a
is
very interesting
nutty.
fact.
Yeah. And again, it's funny because they're just known for that. They never burnt a witch at the stake. That was a European thing.
No one was ever
No one was
burned
ever
at the stake in
burned
the
in the
United
US.
States.
Oh,
Anywhere.
did not know
Never.
that.
It was all in Europe, the Dark Ages.
Huh.
Yep.
We were civilized. We hung them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or pressed
Which
them.
honestly, if you got to go one way or the other, I think
Yeah,
I'd
I
rather
would-
someone
I would
hang me
rather-
than burn
There's
me.
one guy that
Yeah.
got pressed to death, which is.
That's right, Giles Corey.
Yes.
Which that was another thing that was funny too. That amazing. He was in his 80s, and what happened was he knew if he entered a plea, he would be convicted.
Right.
So he would lose all his land, which he had a lot. He had a lot of stuff. So if he never entered a plea, they couldn't take his stuff. So he knew he was going to die, but he
Right.
wanted his kids to have stuff because actually his wife, I think, got
His wife
convicted
was
and hanged.
hanged 3
What,
days
3
after his
days?
death.
Yeah. So what they did was the sheriff at the time, Hathorne,
Hathorne.
who was related to
Actually,
Nathaniel
the-
Hawthorne.
Actually, the judge was Hathorne. The sheriff was Corwin.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I'm getting it
Corwin.
wrong.
Yes.
That's why she had to keep me right. But
you in check.
the sheriff was mean, and he took the law very very literally. So when it was pressed the witness, he pressed him. He put a board on him. They put these heavy rocks on him.
Oh.
So
Added
for
on
whatever
to
it
it.
was, for days he had like 750 pounds on him of this stuff. This 80-year-old
Oh my
guy.
God.
And every time
And-
they asked him, "How do you plead?"
He would never enter it.
He just said more weight.
So they said the rumor is the last words he said were more weight.
Whoa.
Yes.
And of course, whenever you breathe out, like you push down a little more, and they put the last rock on, and that was it. But he never entered the plea. So the wife, got hung, but the kids got to keep
Kid's
the
got
property.
I think to this day he has descendants who live in Salem,
Yes.
I believe. So.
And Nathaniel Hawthorne was related to the hanging judge
Hathorne.
and he didn't want to be related to them, so he put the W in his name. Not exactly sure why he picked the W. I have a theory that it had to do with writer because he was a writer.
Yes.
But I don't know if maybe he just said W fits there, so I'm going to put that in. Might have nothing to do with anything.
A lot of interesting things you find out.
And actually, before we get into anything else, how about we show the video? Because we took a bunch of pictures and stuff
Yes.
there.
Oh,
We'll
we
go
have a
through that.
little video?
Yeah. so that was just a little
Just a
abbreviated
little
version of what we did.
Preview.
And you notice one of those pictures had a sign that said Dead Horse Beach.
Yes.
And one thing they told us about Salem too is they were very literal there. So like the South Lake or whatever was the South Lake, and you know they named everything for what it was.
Church Street.
Church Street. The church was
Dungeon
on the street.
Street.
Yeah, it was just everything was very literal and simple.
Yeah.
So Dead Horse Beach was.
Dead Horse Beach.
Yeah.
Which, funny enough, lots of areas in Salem, especially that area where Dead Horse Beach is on this place called Winter Island. And on Winter Island, when the tide gets low, it gets very low, like so low that you can walk across to the houses across the shore.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's when people go out. They go mucking for oysters.
What
believe.
did they say? The tide swelled like 15 feet
well,
or
that
something
would
like
make
that.
Yeah.
that would make clamming really
Yeah.
easy.
It's at some point the water barely gets to your knees,
And the
so
other
you
point
can
is like
literally just
15
walk
feet.
across.
Oh,
So
that's
it's amazing how much
crazy.
the difference in the
Because
tide
when we
is.
took the trolley tour, at one point we went past and the water was up to these steps, and we took the trolley about 3 hours later, and the water was completely gone.
The
We're
boats
oh
that
my
were up
God.
and now laying on
yeah,
the mud.
they were
Yeah.
just laying on the
What?
mud. Yes, I'd love to actually walk across.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
But that was the one. But then the other one, they had like the marker out there. You could walk up to that marker and it will never get above your knees.
Yes.
Oh,
And
that's
so if
crazy.
it's really low, you could go almost all the way across,
Yep.
barely swimming.
Yep.
And that's where Dead Horse Beach was, and it was called Dead Horse Beach because when they had the Great Fire there,
Right.
the horses that were dying from stuff like that, they should just bury them on the beach. Not realizing that when the tide came up and salt water and dead bodies,
They didn't,
the
bury
horses
the,
up.
they didn't bury the horses deep
Oh
enough.
my
Yeah.
god.
So not only had
So,
dead bodies
yeah,
floating
you
down the
got
street, you got some
you
dead
got
horses.
bloated
there.
horses floating up.
Jeez.
So a lot of craziness going on in Salem back in those days.
Oh my goodness.
And the pirate history was interesting, and
Yes.
I didn't do too much of that the last 2 times I was there, but this time we found out one of the most lucrative pirates that actually retired without getting killed was an Asian woman,
Yes.
What?
A Chinese woman.
Oh no.
right?
Yes.
I didn't even know there was Asian.
I
didn't
was
even
gonna
know there was
say, I
women
didn't know there were
pirates,
women pirates,
let alone
the
a
Asian one.
captain.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So yeah, she ran one of the biggest organizations. She had what did they say, 80 ships or something
She had
ridiculous
80,
like
80
that.
ships at one point. She had a big fleet.
Oh,
And
she
they
was
all,
running.
Yes.
and here it is. You know, you're thinking it's back in those times. Women were, but she's running.
She retired
80
off of
ships.
her
She was like
and
the
lived off her
Beyonce of the
riches.
pirates.
Pretty much.
That's crazy.
It's funny what you learn about. Will hopes the Salem Chinese food place didn't literally serve poo-poo platters. Well, I don't know, but we didn't eat the Chinese place. So.
No, we did not. We had seafood.
But we
Lots of
had
seafood.
guru poo-poo last week.
We
So.
did have guru poo poo.
It's interesting 'cause I like going to places where you get a little history. And since
Yeah.
we're sticking
Yeah,
on the Halloween
definitely.
theme, New Orleans is another
Another I'd like
town
to
that's
revisit.
like, you get a lot
Very
of
rich
haunted
culture.
stuff like that. And the funny thing is, the 1800s, they had Marie Laveau.
Maggie
Oh,
Laveau,
yes.
yes.
And it's funny because here's this foreign black woman, and she had so much
I think
power.
she came from Haiti.
So
actually.
much.
Yeah, I believe
And
she was Haitian.
Somehow landed in New Orleans.
Well, New Orleans, back in that time, like that was like a central hub. A lot of
yes.
people came in there, but it was big with the French because that's why they still had the French Quarter.
Yes.
But she was so feared because she was a voodoo practitioner
Yep.
that no one would mess with her, and apparently she killed a few husbands off.
Oh, I believe
But they
that.
thought that she used voodoo, so nobody really wanted to go
Right,
after her for
yeah,
it. So it was
yeah,
like,
well, I mean-
oh, he disappeared. Okay, yeah,
Right,
we're not gonna
yeah.
whatever you want to do. So they were
I
so
didn't
scared
see
of her.
anything. Just don't hurt me.
She
Right.
ran this crazy business. She was
She-
making money back
She
then.
was
Oh,
making
yeah.
money.
Yeah, she was a very powerful
You
woman.
had a colored woman making tons of money back then.
Yeah,
It was
for the
unheard of.
time, yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah, the Better Have podcast checked in. They said, no, it was amazing for the history. And it really was. I mean, if you've never been there, you got to go.
Yeah, I
you
gotta
got to
get
check
there.
it
We
out.
definitely do to revisit. And all that.
It's amazing because you find out so much stuff because you don't think about how many different countries used that area just
Yes.
as a strategic,
Yeah.
they're coming from all over the world to get there because it was
You
just
got
so.
the British, the
yeah.
French, the Dutch, just everybody. It's like a melting pot.
And there's a lot of similarities with some of the Haitian culture and there because of the people
Well,
that
yeah,
came
a
over.
lot
and
of the,
Salem, because there was a lot of tie-ins
Yeah.
with Salem in that. So it's funny. You don't think back in those days people traveled that much, but they really
Well,
did.
yeah, definitely. Haiti and Louisiana definitely exchanged a lot of culture because a lot of free slaves, a lot of free slaves left Louisiana and actually ended up in Haiti, and vice versa. Some of them left Haiti and Santo Domingo, and eventually landed in Louisiana and settled there.
Huh.
So that's why the cuisine is
I was
the
going to say
same,
that
the
explains a lot of
architecture,
the culture of
Yes.
Louisiana,
Yeah.
though, because it is very
the
much that,
language,
like,
the Creole. Even though
that
the Creole
Creole kind
is
of-
different.
yeah.
The Cajun Creole, from what I've read and heard, is different from Haitian Creole, but they could understand each other.
I guess it's
They
just
spoke
like
to
different
each other.
dialects of Spanish. There's
Exactly.
a lot of different, you know.
Like you'd have a Spanish person from Spain speaking to a Spanish person from Puerto Rico. It's two different types of Spanish, but they
Right.
would still
Right.
understand each other.
Yeah. Well, you see that in English, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody from New York speaking to somebody from Texas, like,
Yes.
Take somebody from
You know.
Texas and Boston, have them have a
Oh,
conversation.
my
God, forget
By the
it.
way, if you're in Boston, it's Peabody.
Yeah,
not
it's
Peabody.
not Peabody. Peabody.
New Orleans was great too because you get to learn a lot. Like, you know, first of all, the culture with that, but you would see a lot of the first floor windows were gigantic, and you could actually
You
walk
got
out
you
of them.
walk through. Yeah, it was like the door height.
But the reason why is you got taxed by how many doors you had.
what?
So if
Yeah.
you wanted to show off, you had a bunch of doors in your house. You had a front door, a back door, maybe a side door.
Yes.
If you were poor, you had the front door
And then a whole
and a bunch of big
bunch
windows
of
that you could
windows.
walk out.
That's great.
So
Yes.
again, it's really interesting how things were
Yes.
different back then. But it seems like everybody was rich back then.
Everybody
you
was
go
rich,
into these
oh my
houses, they're
God.
all freaking mansions, you know?
Yeah, so many the rooms, the size
Salem
of the
too, they
rooms.
had that one street where, you know,
The
15
Mackenzie district,
bedrooms,
yes.
9 bathrooms.
Oh my
you
God.
know, and they were one family homes.
That's crazy.
Now, some of them, it was the different generations of families that lived in this.
Right, but still-
Right,
But the
yeah,
one
but-
house, they said it was one couple. And then the guy made the joke, they haven't seen each other in 6 months. It's just, I
my
can't get in the
God.
See the
house.
house, like, wow.
Oh, jeez.
So, and in Salem, what they're doing now, too, is they're putting plaques on some of the houses saying the year it was built, who it was built for, and what their trade was.
Yes.
So that's kind of
interesting.
cool,
It's
too.
kind
That
of
is
cool.
kinda
Like
cool.
one of the oldest houses was built in what 1688, I believe,
Yeah.
and the person was a Cooper, which I believe makes barrels.
Huh.
Yes.
Yes.
Cooper who makes barrels.
And we learned what Bunghole was.
Yes, the
This is a
Bunghole,
Bunghole liquor place there.
famous
and
liquor store.
Ironically, it didn't get the name as a joke. It actually was a
It's from
what was it? It was no, it was I forget what the place originally was, but people would meet there, and during Prohibition, they were making alcohol in the basement, like
taverns?
wine and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Right, like
I don't know if it was
moonshine.
because they said if they ever lived Prohibition, you should make this a tavern.
Right.
But it was something else first, and I forget, and they would meet there. But a bunghole is actually a hole in a
The
wine barrel.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
So you could pour
you
out
know,
to taste
we
it,
know
et
it's something
cetera.
very different.
Very different,
Yes.
yes.
So,
Yes.
you know, when they were talking about the bunghole, they were talking about the hole in a wine barrel. So then it became a liquor store.
See,
and,
I
oh, it's
would
a
have
Bunghole
become
Liquors.
immediately suspicious.
Right.
Yeah. So now,
Everybody
of course, they
giggles
jump all over
Yeah.
They
that.
jump all over.
Yeah,
Like I got it in the bunghole,
Yep.
and, you know,
of course, of course.
because
yeah.
why wouldn't you?
Right, well,
That's
yeah,
your
you
name, you
gotta,
got to
yeah.
capitalize on it.
Yeah, I'm sure they have T-shirts for that.
And
kind
no,
of thing.
there was no TP before anyone asked. There was no TP for the bunghole.
Oh,
Larry said he went camping on an actual battleground at Gettysburg. Talk about haunted. That had to be
oh,
cool.
that's probably
that'd be
pretty
cool.
cool.
Yeah, there was that hotel over there too that we got to stay at. The boutique.
Yes.
They said it's the most haunted place there, but it's kind of expensive.
Apparently, even
So
more haunted than the Hawthorne.
yeah,
Well,
he didn't
Hawthorne-
even mention the Hawthorne as being haunted.
No. But
But-
the Hawthorne supposedly has these two rooms that
Yeah.
are haunted,
Yeah,
which was actually
so
down the
we're ghost
hall
hunters
from
and
the
stuff,
room
and-
where we stayed when we were
Yeah,
there.
Ooh,
we
lucky
tried. We
you.
tried to get
We
the
tried
haunted
to
room,
get that room, and
Yeah.
but you know they're the ones that go
That's,
first.
yeah, yeah.
right.
So speaking of haunted and stuff like that, you are a haunted house actor, right?
Yes.
You
yes.
still currently do it?
Yep, I am. I literally just came here from the theater.
Oh, that's
that,
awesome.
does haunt.
So
I live on
it's a
property.
Gateway Haunted Playhouse.
Yes.
Where is that located?
It's in Bellport, out east.
Okay.
It's by like Patchogue and all that area.
Okay.
Refresh my memory, because I used to go to all of them. Is it? That's not the one on the campground, is it?
No, it's on. It's at a theater. It's at Gateway
It's all in the
Playhouse.
theater.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on Station Road
Okay.
or
Okay.
North Station Road in Bellport.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I may have heard of
It's normally like for I think it's they operate from April until January. They're closed until April, like in that gap in between, and they do theater. They do musical theater. That's like
Okay.
their thing, and they also have an acting school. They do like costume rentals, all that kind of stuff. Set rentals. Their Beauty and the Beast set is the most rented Beauty and the Beast set in like America. Like it, like,
Wow.
That's
yeah,
impressive.
they travel it all over. They do tours and stuff like that with their shows. They're like arguably one of the best like theaters on Long Island. They're a union theater too. They're one of the few. It's like them, Engelman, and now there's like the Argyle Theater in Babylon. They're the only ones that hire like union.
I feel like I may
actors.
have attended one play there. It sounds.
It's always pretty
really,
good.
really
Yeah,
familiar.
they do a really good job with their like regular shows, but their haunted house, that's like their bread and butter. Like
We'll have to check it out.
It's
See if I
yeah.
get scared because.
Yeah, they were rated #1 on Long Island for like 4 or 5 years in a row by News 12.
And that's not like the #1 in Salem.
Not like the #1 in Salem. No, we
See,
should
the problem
definitely
is
try.
everybody's #1 now. You go
Right.
anywhere, they all have the #1 thing.
Yep,
It's weakened it so
absolutely.
much that nothing means anything.
Right.
Every haunted house we passed in Salem was the #1 haunted house.
Oh,
in
of
Salem.
course it
Haunted
was,
house.
yeah.
Every one of them.
Voted
Oh, of
number
course.
one.
Yeah,
So,
well, it's pretty cool.
Voted
'cause,
#1 by the owners, yeah.
We did do
The,
a couple of them,
yes,
and
we
I
did.
was actually proud of myself that I did not scream my head off. 'cause
Oh, well, good for
usually
you.
Neither of them
horror
were scary,
stuff
though.
can get to me, but I was like, it's not that scary or I'm doing really good.
Yeah. Well, Gateway was they were voted like number, I think, 13 in like the Northeast or something like that.
Wow.
Like that, like
Number
by
13,
some
ooh.
by some
That's
like
a good number to be.
by some like yeah, right? Like go figure, yeah.
Better than #1. 13, come on.
It's like some haunt review.
Okay.
Like they've been in every haunt magazine that you could possibly think of. Like they're
Definitely have to go there.
I know
Yeah.
I've been there because I've been to pretty much every one on Long
Okay.
Island. But I want to start revisiting some because the thing is, I don't get scared at them. I want to.
Yeah.
I really try to. I've
know,
gone
it's-
to everyone. I've gone out of state. I've been called an asshole and everything
Yeah.
because I'm like, sorry,
We'll have to go
Right,
out
yeah.
of
You know,
the country and try that one in
But I
Canada.
still enjoy it. I
Right.
like going. I like watching other people get scared.
yeah.
Um,
You know what it is? There's like some people who like they'll go to haunted houses and they know that they're not going to get scared and they like are just like dicks about it, you know, where they walk through so confidently that it's like they're not even trying to have fun. They're just
Yeah.
trying
Right.
to prove that
well, I
they're
walk
brave.
through with a smile because I still
Yeah.
enjoy it.
And then
I
there's
love
people
the
who-
horror aspect of
Right,
it.
like
So-
like there's people like you who go through who like that. You know, you're probably not like people
Yeah.
probably aren't going to get you, even though like Gateway they do a good job. Like definitely, like we have a whole system. Everybody there, like who works there, pretty much lives there.
Okay.
Like they house us for the month, so it's like everybody gets very close. It's like kind of creepy almost. It's like a little cult like. But it helps make the scaring even more effective because we all work together so well.
Okay.
But like, I appreciate when if somebody walks through. Oh, whoops. If they walk through and they know they're not going to get scared, if at least they look like they're having a good time.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like if they're looking around at like the scenery and stuff like that, like just like actually appreciating
You know
it.
what it is? I'm going to a haunted house, so I already expect things to jump out. I
Right.
expect to see things. I mean, if I was just walking down the street here and a zombie jumped up and came out at me, maybe that would get me. I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, yeah, I would-
when I'm
I
going
would
to a haunted
hope it
house,
would.
it's not, you
You're
know.
expecting to.
Yeah, no, because you know you're not going to die. You know we're not going to
And
touch
quite a
you,
few
like-
times I've scared the workers there. One great one was, I don't know if it was the Bayville Fire Department. It was one of the fire department ones.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We're walking through, and I guess the guy realized he wasn't going to get me, so he guided me down this path, and it's pitch black.
Mm.
So I'm just kind of feeling the walls. They're getting closer and closer and closer, and finally, like, I walk into the end. I'm like, all right. I'm like turning around, like, all right, nobody's here. So I turn around and I start walking back, and I can't see him, and I end up walking right into him. So he jumps. He forgot I went down there. He started people down there, but I just kept walking. Most people freeze, I
Right.
guess, and he goes,
Yeah,
"Oh no,
yeah.
go that way." Then he goes in there and jumps out and gets him.
Oh.
So I ended up scaring him.
Oh, that's great.
I'm like, sorry. He's like,
That's
no,
so
no, it's
funny.
my fault. But I've been in haunted houses. I didn't know were haunted houses when I went in them.
Okay.
Lake George had the alien house.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, cool, it's an alien thing. But then when I kind of realized once the doctor came out, it was like, we're performing this autopsy.
Right,
We'll be
yeah.
back. And then I was like, okay, I
Yeah,
get
I
what
see
this
where
is.
this
And we're
is
walking
going.
around, of course, aliens are coming out, things are jumping out.
Right.
at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, I still enjoy it. I love watching people get scared.
oh yeah.
Well, there's two you should try. We'll definitely have to go out of the country. Go to Canada.
Yeah.
Nightmare Factory in
I wanna try that.
Toronto. That's supposed to be very scary. And yeah, you'll have to try one day Halloween Horror Nights in Universal.
Oh yeah. Those
This
are
Universal
fun.
Studio. There's like
I've
these
done, I've done,
movie level sets.
I've done
you
the
know?
Great
But that's
Adventure
the
ones
best.
and stuff like
that's
that.
the best part of those haunted houses are the sets. Everything
Yes.
else is kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
I
Like the
did-
actors aren't that great in those ones, but the sets are incredible.
The sets are incredible. I did Halloween Horror Nights back in 2005, I believe, and that
I did it,
one,
like,
I
maybe,
had
like,
no
2 years
voice by
after
the end of
that.
the night. I screamed so much.
Yeah.
And
They're good. Like
I
they're really
ran.
like,
They got me. They were running after me. I was running circles. And they're going after me.
the
I
actors
was
are good in the
screaming my
little
head
scare
off.
zones there. Like you know how they have like that little section of the walkway that you can go through. Those actors
Yeah.
are great.
That's where they
In
got
the
me.
actual haunted houses, it's like there's so many people walking through that those guys can't really do anything. They just kind of pop out, pop back in, pop out, pop back in.
That's where they got me because we were walking. Like, it was like this alley between sets, and
yeah.
there was like the bushes on the side.
That's where they keep the good
I think I kind of
actors.
stopped to the side for something, and all of a sudden I realized there was like two pairs of eyes staring at me from the bush. I just jumped up.
Oh, those are my
and
favorite ways
I
to scare
just
people. Is to
screamed my
just
head
like
off.
Be there.
just being there. Yeah, like if like the best is when you're like when a group kind of gets like just separated for like a split second where you can slip in.
Yes.
So that like if it's
that's
like
what
a
I
girl
do.
who's like
you're
with her
expecting your
boyfriend
friend.
behind her,
Yes.
you know, and then like I see the boyfriend kind of like slow down for like a second, and sometimes my favorite people, I'll
go
like
along
look
with it.
at the boyfriend and go, and he'll
That's
go.
me. That's it. That's what I was gonna say. Help Master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't do that often, but
I can see you doing
Yeah.
I don't often even ask permission. I just do. But like I don't know. Sometimes I feel like the guy's like gonna be like really. He'll think it's funny. I feel
Right.
like so. I'm just
Yeah.
like, you know what?
So I've given up hope on getting scared myself, so I'm just like, hey, scare this.
Yeah. Because it's
Hey,
just as
grab my hand,
entertaining.
it's all
Yeah.
right.
Every
Yeah.
now and then I'm a little bit of comedic relief, but I always get somebody.
A couple of times, I think something would have gotten me if it went for me. One was the one where, you know what Brothers Paintball is or whatever, Eddie? They did the haunted house there.
Oh, I think
the
I
walkthrough.
vaguely know what you're talking about. Yeah.
There was this big statue with a gigantic hat on it, and it was like a troll or something like that. So I looked, I'm like, cool. And then I went, I paid, and I walked away. Then the next friend went and paid, and there was somebody in there, and I had no idea because the thing was so low. Apparently there was holes in the hat somewhere.
Oh.
So it jumped at him, and he freaked out, and I looked. I'm like, I had no idea if that thing jumped at me. It might have gotten me.
That's
I
so
really had no
funny.
idea that was real.
That's great.
And the other one, we went to a campground in Jersey, and that was a really cool walkthrough because they had kids there too. So if the kids jumped out, I jumped. I made them feel good. But it was actually really dangerous walking around because you're walking in this campground with no light. You could easily slip and fall
Oh, my
over
God.
these things. So what happened was this kid was like, "Mister, help me out, help me out." My friend fell. I think he broke his ankle or something. So I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And he's like, "No, really." And they were like teenagers. So I'm like, either they're really good actors or they're full of shit. I'm not sure which. But then I see this kid laying down holding his ankle, and I'm like, maybe he really is hurt. I'm like, let's go help him. My friend's like, you go. I'm like, all right. So I walk down there myself with this kid. I go down. As I'm checking out his ankle here, vroom, from a chainsaw, the guy came up from behind them up the trail. So they all flip out and
that's
run.
great.
So I really believed him. So if someone came out with a chainsaw or something at that point, I
Right.
might have been like, might have gotten me. But I'm
That's
still
funny.
holding hope that one of them, maybe that Nightmare Factory or whatever.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, it's funny, like so at the haunt I work at Gateway, they have like actual children in the haunted house, like because the acting school, they'll have the kids
So
do the
children
haunt.
actors.
Yeah, it'll
Okay.
get them like experience and stuff like that in like immersive theater. And these kids, they range from like 7 to like 18, like 7 to whatever, really. I mean,
Right.
any age really is
Yeah,
in
any
haunt.
kid I'll jump for.
But
you know.
like these little kids are the scariest thing in it. Like when I tell you, I was working, I was in one of the first rooms of the haunted house. They had kids in cages, like they had the little kids behind the cages, because like that's like the safest place for them, really. Like they don't like the patrons to really be close to the
Yeah.
kids.
Right.
Because you never, some people do swing.
Some
They
people,
get
yeah,
scared,
and
whatever.
some people are just really disgusting towards these kids.
Well,
like,
yeah, that's
so they always have a lot of adult actors in those areas. Like I've had to like literally be like, hey, that's a 7-year-old. Like, calm down. You know what I mean? Like, but anyway, so I was at the exit of the room, like at the very end of the room, and the kids were in the cages at the very front of the room, and all of a sudden I hear, "Oh my God, help, help, oh my God, help, help, she's having a seizure, help, quick." And I literally like ran, like booked it from the very back of the room to the front of the room because it sounded so real. And then I look over and the kids are in the cage surrounding one kid who literally looks like they're having like an actual seizure, and all the other kids are like freaking out and crying. And then I look up and a group is right there, and I just went, holy shit. I was like, oh my God. So I was like, all right. And I ran back to my spot and got the group and then went back over and I was like, you guys are good. I was like, you guys are really
That might have
good.
got me too. I was thinking the kids really having a
Yeah.
season.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Like, I couldn't believe it. And there's kids who, we have a school bus they have to walk through on the outside part, and they have little kids on the bus, which this year they have them in Catholic school uniforms, which, like, so good. So good.
We'd have to go.
Right,
Yeah, and they just act possessed. Like, they, like, spark up out of nowhere and start climbing over the seats and, like, jumping over the aisles. I watched them do their thing, and I'm like, if I was paying for this would be the point where I'd be like, all right, I'm done. Get me out. I'm over it.
Now, is this just like a weekend thing? What nights do you have it?
So this coming week, it is on Wednesday through Sunday,
Okay.
Oh, really? Maybe we could do this Wednesday.
starting at 7 p.m. and then on the weekdays, so like Fridays and Saturdays, it goes until about 11, I think, and then on every other day, it goes until about 10.
So you usually get really crowded. Like if we went on Wednesday, would it be really bad?
It's
or?
pretty like there's less actors on the weekdays, so you don't get as much of like the people scaring you, but it's still good.
Yeah.
Because it's like you don't know where the hell you are. You're like inside, you go upstairs, then you go downstairs, then you're outside, then you're inside, then you're back downstairs, then you're back upstairs. Floors are moving. They pump smells into the air for certain rooms, so it smells terrible in some spots.
Wow.
There's like a squishy floor that you have to walk through. You got little like bursts of air coming out your legs. You got crap hanging from the ceiling.
That's one thing I do
yeah.
hate because I'm tall, and sometimes I have the burst of air high, and it's usually like right in my ear. And I'm
Yeah.
like, ah! Now I'm
Yeah,
deaf.
they'll like squirt you with water to make you think you're like getting bled on. Like,
that's cool.
They have like
I don't remember any of that.
They
I
have
guess
like
it got
a
better.
like a maggot thing coming from the ceiling. That's a new thing. It looks like you're getting like maggots like dropped on you. It like
Wow.
all sorts of crazy stuff. It's out of control.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to go Wednesday, reach out to me.
That might
Yeah.
I'm really going to try to go.
The best thing I can tell you is to buy your tickets online prior to going because you get $5 less online than you would if you pay in person.
Right.
So it's like I think $30 if you buy it online, $35 at the door. It's like a solid half-hour, 45-minute walk
That's
through.
good too. That's,
So you're getting some bang for your buck.
5-10 minutes.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. That's the
I
thing
know, like
too.
the one like Schmidt's Farms, they had the corn maze and then the inside.
Yeah.
Or what's the one in Tuxedo?
Oh, the one across from the Renaissance Fair?
They have.
Oh, I've heard
3
about
different
that
ones.
one.
That one's really
somebody,
good.
somebody I work with at this haunt was actually telling me about that when they were saying that I should go up there and like kind of like cameo or something, or see if I
Yeah.
could work there for a little while. Because like the act, actually, it's really crazy. The actors at that one, he was telling me, they're like constantly like just like on something when they're like doing it. Like they're like crazy. Like they like party. And then just like
Oh,
they,
God.
and then just like screw with people. Like one of my friends said that he was working at that one. He had a water bottle, or no, like the super soaker, like one of those little ones
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
And he would keep it in his pants, and it was full of beer. And he would warm it up, and he would like stand on top of like a thing, like above the patrons, and just like squirt the warm beer all over the place.
See, that's
And,
a
like,
little
he-
more than hard.
He'd
That's
be
like.
he'd be like hitting people in the face with it and stuff, and it looks and like feels like
Yeah.
pee. So messed
Oh
up.
my
I was like,
God.
I would love to do that though.
That I could see causing a fight or something. 'cause
Right?
That's taking a
Yeah,
step
like,
further there.
for real, though.
Jump out there. And I've gone to the ones in the city that the the touch ones.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah,
I
yeah.
figured maybe if it's a touch one and someone grabs you, maybe you get me
Right.
more.
Right. Yeah.
Didn't help you. Because you know what? You kind of, all right, there's the corner. That's where they're coming out from. Oh, there's a little thing here when I walk out there. They're going to come from there.
Right. Oh my god, I still have bits of the haunt on me.
Now-
I'm constantly covered in dirt.
Do you have a character or do you do different things?
Well, this year I am a break giver, so like I just go through with like a timer, and I have specific actors that I'm supposed to give a break to.
Okay.
So I hand off the timer for them. They get 10 minutes, and I just like take over their spot for like 10 minutes, and then
Okay.
scurry over to the next spot and give it to the next person. And
Okay.
Yeah, I used to, because this is like year number 8 for me, and I'm like kind of like if they put me in one room for the whole night, I'll go crazy. I did that for like probably 6 years straight, and I was like, okay, I need to break give or
Right.
roam around or something, because I'll go nuts.
Okay.
So this year, that's what I've been doing, and it's pretty good. Oh, I was going to mention before, you mentioned Darkside and Schmitz and all that. So actually, Gateway, Darkside, Schmitz, and Chamber of Horrors are all under like one thing now. They made this website called Scream LI, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
And it's like a haunt coalition. It's like a Long Island. It's like the top-rated haunts of Long Island have like kind of joined forces to like help promote each other and stuff like that.
Okay.
So you can get like tickets for all the haunts
Multiple.
kind of in like one spot and like see like what deals are there and stuff
Right.
like that.
All right.
Yeah, so that's been like a new thing, which is cool because like at the end of the year, all the haunts kind of get together and have like a little party because it's kind of like a little.
If I had off, I would love to do that. One year, I'm going to be an actor.
You got it. It's so much fun.
For a big
You'd
guy,
be-
I move really quiet.
Oh
You'd
yeah.
be
And I'm
really good at
scared.
it.
Even when I
Listen,
worked at
people
cable,
of
I
our
scared the shit out of
size-
people just by being in a room. They didn't
Yeah.
hear me walk in. They turn around, ah, you know.
Yeah, forget it.
And
Throw
especially
like a
with my
mask on
height,
you.
Yeah. Like,
especially if I did what some of these people did. If I put lifts in,
Mm-hmm.
I'm already
Oh.
like 6'3".
Oh, forget it. Yeah, there's a bunch of people who wear lifts at this one, and it's like it just makes them terrifying.
wow.
Because it was one
Like-
where Michael was there. Mike Myers is supposed to be this big guy.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I was taller than him.
Oh, wow.
So he
Oh,
looked at me
that's
because you
funny.
should do this.
Right? Really though. Yeah, they like big people like, and,
Yeah.
and it's funny too because like one night I actually I was in a spot that was just so hot, and they make the rooms intentionally kind of uncomfortable in some spots.
Yeah.
Right.
So like in the room I was in, it was like I don't know if they were pumping hot air into the room, but that's what it felt like.
Right.
So halfway through, and I was wearing this thing that covered like my nose and mouth. It was just this
Oh.
black, like I looked like a surgeon. I had like scrubs and like
Right.
this thing. All of my makeup from like my forehead down was just gone. Like I'd sweat everything off. Like not even a bit of
See,
blood.
that's the part I would hate.
And yeah, it's a little rough sometimes. But I like had a break after I just got like a group really good. And all I did was like stare them down, you know? Like I wasn't even trying that hard. But they were like practically peeing themselves, and all I was doing was looking at them. And I
Sometimes
walked.
just that quiet walk.
It's
to
yeah,
them.
and sometimes you need a break from going
Yeah.
crazy. So if you just give them like a nice intense glare, it'll do the trick. You
Yeah.
know? You might not get that crazy burst, but you can feel the uncomfortableness.
I've seen people flip out. You know, all right, the jump out, you get the jump scare, but when someone just keeps walking at them
Yeah.
and walking, and they're like,
Yep.
all right, I get it, and then you're still walking, like, all right,
Yeah,
So I've seen a lot of that
I do
happen
a lot
too.
of like weird, like I act kind of like an animal a lot. Like I'll sniff people. I'll like do like a dog kind of, you know, and then just like right on their neck or their ear, like just a nice little burst of air right
Oh
into
my
their ear.
God.
But I remember I went on my break and I looked in the mirror and I had like no makeup on and I was like, why are they so scared? It's just me. I was like, God damn it, am I really that
now,
scared?
now you don't know if you feel good because you're that good of an
Right.
actor, or that bad because why am I so
like,
scary?
oh my God, like why are they terrified? I look fine.
See, that's what Missy said too. The intense glare is what gets her. Well, if you're not doing anything Wednesday and you want to come check it out,
Yeah.
I'll
look us up.
intensely glare at you. I'll
Yeah.
get you.
I'll intensely glare at you too. We all will. So will they. We all will.
Oh, and actually, speaking of, like, so I said, like, pissing yourself, there's actually, so at the haunt that I work
Well, that's
at,
where I was going to get at.
Yeah.
How much have you scared somebody? What's the worst scare?
me and my friend made somebody shit their pants, like, literally the day before yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was the one in the city because they
That's-
said people have shit themselves, and I'm like, I'm going because it's
Yeah.
going to be good.
Well, they have, like, a system at the one I work at where if you make somebody pee their pants, you call over the radio that you got a code yellow. If you made somebody shit themselves, you call on the radio and you call on a code brown. And very rarely, but it can happen, if you make somebody puke, it's a code green. And like they tally it,
You get a
and like
bonus?
they'll even confirm it. At like they'll have security like look for piss stains or like smell people. And then they tally it, and whoever gets the most at the end of the year gets like prizes and stuff like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, and it happens like multiple times a night. And like you always know, like you can see it in their eyes when they're peeing, and you can smell it when they shit themselves.
I'm sure.
Like the other
I just
night,
can't imagine
oh,
having something that scary where I'd actually shit myself.
You'd be surprised
Scare
how many
the shit out of
people.
someone.
It's really.
I mean, yes, it's an expression and it does happen, but I just, you're
Right.
going to a haunted house. What would possibly scare you that much?
Right, or like take a
You know, the
shit before you
piss,
go.
all right, some people, a lot
Yeah,
of them
we
drink
flatter
before they
or-
go.
Yeah, oh,
and
they
Yeah.
definitely drink.
just a
that's for
jump,
sure.
I could see
Yeah.
that happening, but yeah, I don't know.
It's gold though. It's the best feeling though. I'm telling you.
I mean,
what
Jessica
an
was
accomplishment.
scared really bad from the one we went to in Salem.
The one that.
But
curled
she
up in a
got
ball?
through. She went out the door outside and laid down in the fetal position. Every single actor in the place came out to look and point and laugh
Yep.
at her. The people at the restaurant across were pointing and laughing at her.
Oh, that's
I felt
great.
so bad for her. She gets really scared, and I wanted to go to this one because it was supposed to be really the best one in Salem.
Right.
And it was the best one I went to there. It was a small place, but they really utilized the rooms. And when you walked out and went somewhere else,
Right.
they would change the room real quick. So you walked in.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
they really, and the actors were good, and it was funny too because the first one, like the automated thing's telling you something, and
Right.
the guy come this way. It's like, shut up! I'm listening to the instructions. I gotta
that's
listen to this.
funny.
It's important. I'm like, no, this is part of it. We gotta go. No. But yeah, they
can't.
loved her. She was great.
That's funny.
I would go with her to anyone's house anywhere. She was also the same person when we went through the non-scary one.
Right.
She grabbed my shirt or jacket, whatever I had. She had her head on my back, and all that happened was it was like a little plywood ramp. The floor changed levels, and she screamed.
I
And I'm
love
looking
those
around
people.
because I'm like, did someone behind us? Like, did someone grab her? And I'm looking
Right.
like, did you really just scream because the floor changed levels? You shut up. Keep walking. So that's why I love going to haunted
that's
houses because
great.
that makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah,
to me.
totally.
That's kind of the reactions I'm expecting from myself.
What you told me, I'm a little afraid to go into bed when you're probably going to come out with no shirt and a lot of blood.
Yeah, Halloween Horror Nights was. I haven't been to that many haunted houses, but Halloween Horror Nights was definitely an
It's
experience.
a pretty good one, yeah.
And-
I like definitely for the sets. It's like amazing.
And actually,
Like,
while we were there, it was raining and it was windy because Hurricane Wilma was right on top of us, and they were actually
geez.
threatening to shut the park at
Right.
various hours during the
Wow.
night because it was getting really close, but they kept going.
Right.
So it was we bought ponchos, and it's rainy, it's windy, and then you got people scaring you. So
Oh,
it definitely
geez.
added to the experience, all that
Oh,
spooky
definitely.
wind and everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, the next day when we left the airport, as soon as our flight took off, they shut down the airport because the hurricane was too
Oh,
close.
wow.
So we got out of there just in time out of Orlando. But yeah, I had no voice by the end of that night because they got to me.
So without giving too much away, what'd you actually do to get that code brown?
Oh, well, actually,
gotta
it was.
Right?
So we have like kind of like a system at Gateway for scaring people. It's distraction, scare, sucker punch. So like somebody will distract you, and then somebody else will scare you, and then usually at the end of the room there'll be like something else. At the very end is like a sucker punch, just something stupid like an automation or something like that. So, my friend is in this costume that's like it's made out of like VHS tape, like. The
wow.
ribbon inside of
Yeah.
it, and it's just that. He looks like Cousin It from the Addams Family, but
Oh,
like
wow.
with VHS tape.
Yes.
So it's just this weird. It looks like a trash heap, like, and he just stays crouched in the corner of the room, waiting for the group, like at the far end. And then the group will get like maybe like in a couple feet into the room, and he'll just leap up out of the corner and charge them. And then right as they're reacting to him, right after that, I jump out from the side and would scream in one of their faces. So between him jumping forward at them, me jumping sideways at them, one of the guys just crouched back down and screamed. And then the room just smelled like shit.
Oh
It
my God.
smelled it smelled terrible. It was really bad.
Wow.
And the smell, because then they went around the corner and I could literally smell it traveling around the corner. It was pretty good. I
What do you
immediately
say
got
to
on the
your friends
radio.
after that? It's you'd have to not talk to anybody ever again. Just,
Right?
go home.
Yeah, that's
I
gotta
give
be.
up. I gotta move now.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
what do you do to
How do you
recover
even
from
go
that?
home? How do you get in the
Right.
car?
Well, I've been saying for years
You wouldn't be getting my
Like-
car. I'll tell you that.
I've been saying for years that Gateway needs to start selling underwear.
Yeah.
At the end of the
Yeah,
haunt,
and
you know,
sweatpants or something,
I
change
I
clothes.
shit my pants at Gateway, and you have these underwear that you can change into when you're
That
done.
would
you know?
actually that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
They should do
Right?
that.
I know. I've been saying it to them forever,
Yeah,
but
sell some-
I don't know anything. I just work there.
Sell some sweatpants, some breakaway
Right?
pants,
Yeah,
or
like some
something,
sweatpants and
leggings,
some underwear to
yeah.
a new set of bottom apparel.
I'm
to
trying
get
to
you
think
home.
too. Outside of drinking a lot before going in, what would make you puke?
It's mainly the smells that they have in the. They're
Okay,
really
so someone's got
bad.
like a gag reflex or something.
Really, really nasty. There's one in particular, I can't recall which room it is in right now, but I was in that room giving breaks, and it smells like rotting cheese is the name of the smell. but it really smells like rotting cheese inside of like a dead person's ass.
Jeez.
Like it
All
just
right, yeah, I can see
it's
that
like
then.
a combination of like sour and like just dead things. Like it just smells so bad. And what's even worse is that like it's kind of like your cue for when people are coming into the room because they step on a mat and the mat releases the scent. So you hear psst, and then you smell it.
How do you even generate that kind of smell?
It's like messed up air fresheners that they buy. Like they're like specifically for haunts.
Oh wow.
See,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to it, but NYZ Apocalypse did stuff like that too.
Yeah,
it's
they
like
were
it smells like
good.
a
They
real
were
jail. I'm
great.
like, all right, cool. Like, you know what a real jail smells like? I'm like, yeah, work on it.
Well, whatchamacallit, it's really funny because there's a lot of weird like parallels in the haunt world. There's this guy who worked at Gateway who was like a good friend of mine. His name was Church Haley. He was a makeup artist, and he worked at NYZ Apocalypse, and then he worked at Gateway because his friend Ricky, who he was on Face Off on like season 9. He's like
Okay.
probably one of my like closest friends when it comes to like the haunted house, and he works as the head makeup artist at
Okay.
Gateway, and so he brought Church over to like everybody who's worked at the haunt has worked at other haunts,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
you know, like it's like a weird small world where like everybody just knows each other, like you know.
Yeah, because that was a great concept there, because it was like a interactive haunted house, basically.
Yeah, really, really clever. I don't know why it didn't last longer
Yeah,
than it
bummed
did,
I didn't
but
get to
Because,
try it.
you know, if it wasn't because they weren't doing well, because it seemed like they were,
Yeah.
someone else got to get on that. Just
Yeah.
open up something
Yes.
similar.
yeah, it was a really
Interactive
good
haunted
idea.
house is the way to go, especially now with the zombie craze and everything else. You know, if you get on something like that,
I
do
mean,
a Walking
zombies have
Dead
been
theme.
big for a while too.
Yeah.
Like they're never gonna go away. Like
No.
that's like
Never.
a big,
It's
big.
From George
favorite.
Romero to The Walking Dead. I mean, they're always.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, everybody loves a good zombie
Yeah.
movie. Like, you
Yes.
know, if you love horror, you love zombies. It's just part of like the just like typical trope of things.
All right, I'm losing track of time. We're just about up.
Oh, wow.
So, let's wrap this up. Where can they see you? When and where?
Well, at Gateway's Haunted Playhouse, I'm there every single night that it is open. Also, during the days on Saturdays and Sundays from 12 to 4, they do a not so scary adventure for children. So it's just like they cover up like the really scary stuff in the haunted house. They put all the lights on and they play like really cheesy music.
Okay.
And it's like $10. Parents come with their kids and they have, you can walk through the haunted house. They give them like candy and stuff like that. And,
Okay. It's like a
and
trick-or-treat
I make
type
balloon
thing.
animals at that usually.
Okay.
So I'll be outside and under the concession tent making balloon animals, and they have face painting and a pumpkin bounce and all that cute fall stuff, you know. So and then they go right into, you know, making people shit themselves. So it's, you know, it's pretty good. It's fun. But and then other than that, you know, performing as Andy Mann will do eventually. I'm taking a small break from drag for the
Halloween
semester.
season?
Yeah, well, for the Halloween season, and also I'm back in school, so I'm trying to like focus on that
nice.
for a little while.
Right.
So, but after that, Andy Mann will do.
And check me out this Friday. Be Governor's Little Room. It's my first night hosting. Come out for that.
Oh, I've done that
Yes.
place before. That's a really fun venue.
And
down.
don't forget to watch In the Cage with Cyclone. And check out Frank Zambuto in K Logistics for all your logistic needs. And we will see you next week.